Hi, Homeschool Mom. Kim here today with a re-release of an episode we did last April of 2024, helping you create a homeschool portfolio. We know many of you follow the traditional school calendar, and so you are wrapping up your homeschool for the year. We hope the tips in this episode about how to create a portfolio will help you end your school year with ease. And this information and more is from a recorded workshop for moms that is in our online community. We have many on-demand workshops for moms, which we created from our homeschooling and our teaching experience. So that's another good reason to get in our online community. Find out more details at thehomeschoolwell.com/community. We know this is a tiring time of the school year, trying to get everything wrapped up, and we just want to encourage you to keep going. We also have a bit of scripture. It's Colossians chapter 1, verses 11 and 12. Being strengthened with all power according to his glorious might, that you may have great endurance and patience, and giving joyful thanks to the Father, who has qualified you to share in the inheritance of his holy people in the kingdom of light. Woo! I love that one for you. Just lean into the kingdom of light, giving joy for the endurance and patience that he will bring to you. We're praying it for you. Enjoy today's episode on homeschool portfolios and the little throwback intro and outro songs that we used to do.
Hey, I'm Jenny Barr.
And I'm Kim Godfrey.
We're friends, former teachers, and homeschool moms ourselves who host the Homeschool Well podcast. We talk about topics that are important to homeschool moms so that you can be your child's best teacher. Hi there. Okay, so Jenny here. Let's get started. So organizing your homeschool portfolio can be super overwhelming, but once you have a vision for how you want it to look at the end of the year, you can just work it into your plans to stay organized. You kind of just need to know yourself and what organizing methods work best for you. And then also you need to figure out what are your state requirements for record keeping. And even if your state doesn't require that you keep a portfolio, we always recommend that you do because it shows an amazing journey of your year. So lots of times when we meet with families and we do their portfolio evaluations, they end up getting to the end of the year and they realize that they have been keeping records, but they're kind of like all over the place, or they're all on their computer maybe if you've been doing online school, or you just have thrown them in a box somewhere and they just aren't sure how to pull it all together. We end up helping people do that at the end of the year and say, okay, here's how you can take what you have done and put it all together. We also help them set up a framework so that when they move forward to the next year, they're already got it set. So they're organized and they can just put things in where they need to go. So in this episode, Kim and I are going to give you ideas for planning and organization of all the stuff. Also, expert tips that can make things a little bit easier for you. Then once you get to the end of the year, how can you put this all together to not just have records, but to make it a great experience, like a culmination of your year and be able to celebrate? The first thing we want to talk about is just ideas for how to plan and organize all the stuff. And we've seen people do a lot of different things, and Kim and I were both very different in the way that we planned our years out too. You want to have some kind of record of your plans. So you might think of like a teacher plan book, but it doesn't have to be an actual plan book. It could be your phone calendar where you're just putting stuff in your phone, or an online organizer. One year, Kim and I did an online organizer, right? It was simply Charlotte Mason. We entered books and everything, and it just like planned it out day by day.
It's a really great framework. Yeah, it takes a
Yeah,
little bit at the beginning to do the data entry of the things that you're using, but then
right.
it spits out every week assignments that you want according to how you set it up. And as you click it off online, then it helps you keep up with where you're at.
Yeah. And Homeschool Planet is like that too. You enter the stuff and it will just keep going, and you can take a day off and it'll just automatically move stuff down. It's awesome.
Nice.
So there's different online planners you can use. You can even just put stuff on your phone calendar, like your iPhone calendar, or you can just get a calendar, like a wall calendar, and jot stuff down on it, or have your kids do it in a spiral. There's lots of different ways to record what you did. And some people even do it after the day is over, where they just jot down the things
Yeah.
that they did for the day if they didn't have a pre-planned week. So everyone's different. The way people plan is different. It's just nice to have something so that you can see what you did for the year or the
Yeah.
week, month, or whatever. It's like proof. It's proof for if you need it for your state, and it's also proof for you and your kids. And like, yes, we've done actual school. Like we are doing real learning,
Yeah.
however it came about, whether it was a field trip or whatever. The other thing that we talk about is just how to organize all the stuff, because honestly, you end up with so much stuff that it's like overwhelming. So I personally used binders where I would pick out work samples and put them in binders. We would keep things organized that way. Sometimes we would do it along the way where we would pull out work samples and stick them in a binder as we went. And then sometimes I would just pull things at the end of the year that I wanted to keep in the binder and then throw everything else away. But you can also use like big tubs, or I know, Kim, you've done a lot where you've helped set people up on like Google Drive.
Yes, as they get older, it's really important, and to keep those drives as like the school year was very helpful to me, and it seems to be very helpful for a lot of the high school kids that we evaluate.
Yeah.
So you don't have to think about it, and you get the digital file, and you just toss it into the drive that says,
Yeah.
my student's name, Jeanette, ninth grade, or whatever year it is, right? And all your stuff for her goes in there. Well, the things that you choose for your work samples for the portfolio. It doesn't have to be everything.
Yeah, other people too that we've seen, like you can set up your own like social media channel, like a Facebook private page or Instagram or something, and kind of drag stuff there. Some people set up like a Gmail account, and just when they take pictures of things they've done in their phone, they just send them to that email. And so maybe they have different ones for every kid. There's tons of ways to organize all the things. You just have to kind of choose how you operate and what's best for you.
And back to the email files,
Mhm.
that's a great way to keep any email correspondences. So in the past,
Oh
I think
yeah.
my kids have volunteered or done 4-H things. We also ask for letters of recommendation every year. That little nugget was given to me by a veteran homeschool mom. And she
Mhm.
said, every year your kids should be getting some words of edification about their educational journey and maybe how they helped in a volunteer position or as a leader in a group or something. But every year you get those things, and you think about it, like the emails that you receive, your kids swam, Jenny, right? So the schedule, the competitions,
Yeah.
um, if they had a newsletter, you put all of those things in the Gmail folder that's labeled Jeanette 2024, and here's some
Right.
emails to choose samples from, right? You don't have to put all those emails in your portfolio.
Yeah.
Again, you just pick the highlights, pick the good things that are
Yeah.
said,
Right.
and pick the work samples that show your kids strong points.
Right.
Yes.
So that would be the stuff you would want. That's what we help people set up at the end of the year if they haven't done it, and then at the beginning of the year too.
Are we ready for tips? All right. The first one is something that 95% of the people we evaluate, they don't do it. So don't feel bad. I'm calling you out, everybody. It is date all your work. Date your work, friends. Teach your kids to date their work. I got to the point where my kids would try to turn something into me, and I would look at it, and if the date wasn't on it, I would just say, no, you're not done with it. And they were like, what do you mean? We're done. No, you're not. Go look, what's missing? What's missing? And they knew that the date was missing, and that's all they had to add to it. You can get those date stampers. If your kid doesn't want to write the date, they can have fun twirling the numbers around to make the right date on the stamper every day, and they can date their work that way. But just from doing the amount of evaluations that we have done, that is a trend that we have seen. And also, what we look for as an evaluator is progress. That is the thing that we have to determine. Has the student made progress? In order to show that, we cannot compare work samples if they're not dated. We ask for 3 subjects, 3 parts of the year for work samples. I'll give you an example for math. You have a beginning of the year work sample in August. and it's dated on the top. And then you have a work sample from January, for example, which is a middle of the year work sample so that we can compare the two and see the progress that they've made. It has the January date on the top. And the third sample would be from the end of the year with the May date on it, for example. Lay all those out, and an easy peasy way for you to just look at it and see the progress that your kids have made. Even if in August they were failing at something, if they have redone it and done it better, then that's progress, right? But you can't show progress without dates. That's the most important tip for you. Date all your work. All right. The second thing, before school starts, create a framework or a receptacle for the samples that is labeled with the year and the grade. And I've already talked about that with my example of Jeanette's digital file and her email file, right? It has her name on it and maybe her grade or the year or both. And that way, you know where you're going to put the things. And so that can translate to tangible paper with the binder idea that Jenny had, or the tub idea. You just want to be able to pick out some things that are highlights and know where you're going to put them. If you create that framework or that receptacle at the very beginning of the year, you are going to keep it very simple right throughout the year, and you'll know exactly where to put the things that you've decided are the highlights. It'll be very quick and very easy. To get that download of the portfolio checklist, especially if you're homeschooling in Florida, scroll down in the show notes, click the link, and get the homeschool portfolio checklist for Florida homeschoolers. But again, even if you don't live in Florida, this is a valuable checklist that will help you keep these empowering portfolios and keep them very efficiently. The checklist is a digital PDF, but there's also a video of Jenny's portfolio, her binder portfolio. So if you're having a hard time digesting and understanding what this actually looks like, the video will bring clarity. And lastly, we want to talk about the culmination of the school year. It's a special time. We used to keep a traditional schedule with the public schools, and we had a summer break. And so we needed to celebrate at the end. And this seemingly boring paper trail is actually going to help you celebrate. I'm serious, right? Because I said you will be able to see their progress. Well, your kids are going to be able to see their progress. And when it's all outlined like this, it's really amazing and eye-opening when you see just a highlight, right, of some of the things that you've done during the school year. You can consider it like an open house. So a culmination, a celebration at the end of the year. It is wonderful to just go back and look at all the work that you've accomplished. It can be an informal event that you share with your family, or you can invite friends over. You can get your homeschool community involved and maybe have a special night for friends to all come together and share the accomplishments that you've had. Any opportunity you can give your kids to enjoy the spotlight and talk about what they've learned. It gives a value to education, and it will continue to nurture that intrinsic love of learning, right? Beautiful. I love that.
Oh, yeah. We both did this. Yeah.
Oh yeah, Jenny went all out. You had like country themes and things. It was so awesome.
Yeah,
Right?
we dressed up. We did Greek stuff, Greek gods and goddesses, and my kids would kill me if that was on social media.
They were like legit in costumes and eating all the food to recreate one of the themes that you taught during the year. That is a rich learning experience and culminating celebration. That's a great way to do it.
So if this helped you today and you would like more information, we also have this class in our online membership. It's recorded on demand in there that you can watch anytime. And you can learn more about that at thehomeschoolwell.com/community. We will see you next week. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Are you looking for a place to connect with other homeschool moms? Well, we have a platform where members gather to support each other throughout their homeschool journeys. Moms just like you. We even have a spot for your kids to interact online in privacy and safety. So head over there and start creating community. thehomeschoolwell.com.